How are we doing tonight, everybody? I wasn't 100% sure how the show was going to go tonight. You know, I didn't think there was going to be a lot of news. And then I saw the news. And to be honest, it's very disturbing. It seems there was a terrorist attack in Colorado where somebody decided to set a bunch of people on fire, which is, disgusting in and of itself. There's also the Ukrainians thought that it would be a great idea to just start, trying to blow up part of Russia's nuclear deterrent, their strategic bombers, which is, I don't know if anyone's aware of how that works, but, Russia and the United States have what's called a nuclear triad. They have a triple threat, basically, that is the, submarines, which have nuclear missiles. We have land-based nuclear missiles, and then we have bombers, and it's basically so that it's like this called like the nuclear triad. And Ukrainians, whatever. Supposedly they came through NATO countries, which is also scary because that's basically directly getting NATO involved. Decided to attack one leg of Russia's nuclear triad, which, by doctrine, just so anyone who's not aware, if somebody was to do that to the United States, that is grounds under our doctrine to use nuclear weapons to retaliate. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But we're going to get into that too. But I hope everyone had a nice weekend so far. It's Sunday night. It is a holiday. Joe is not streaming tonight. It's also a holiday for Christians too, called Pentecost, but we won't get into that because I try to stay away from religion stuff best I can. But anyway, we will go to first story of the evening. I got about 5 or 6 stories lined up. So we'll start with a little what did I do? What is happening? What the hell is happening? How did my show hold on one second. I don't know what I did. I just lost my tabs. This will take me 1 minute. Oh, God. I can't believe I did this. I had it all set up. Had it all set up. And I screwed it all up, and I am sorry. I am sorry for that. Oh, be quiet, Bella. My dog is making noise now. And so let's see here. So first story of the evening. This right here. Share tab. Sorry. So here we go. So we're going to start off with this, which basically breaks down what's happening today. Just a normal Sunday in the world of United States national security. And this list below is not at all inclusive, nor does this list even mention any of the U.S. domestic challenges, i.e., the terrorists, criminals, fentanyl deaths, illegals, the lying media, politicians who want war, the judiciary who wants to rule the country. What's he leaving out? Europe. World War III is kicked off, and it's in high gear in the European theater of operations. 2. Panama. The Panama Canal Zone is under some type of cyber cone of silence. It appears violence may break out. Watch this one closely, as any advantage would go to the CCP. 3. South Korea. The Republic of Korea elections are in a few days, and the Communist Party has a real shot of winning, guaranteeing a CCP victory. Which that would be bad if communists took over South Korea, wouldn't it? Because North Korea is communist, and if South Korea was communist, then why is there North and South? Pakistan. The CCP is finalizing sales of its most sophisticated aircraft to Pakistan. Iran has reportedly been violating the peace talks by underhandedly enriching uranium for its nuclear program, a clear violation. And then in Israel, Hamas is now killing citizens of Gaza. The media are lying about it, and Israel is still waiting for more hostages to be returned, and the media refuses to mention this. Taiwan. Number 7, the Chinese military still breathing down Taiwan's neck. What more can we ask for on a Sunday night? Yeah, I hope Russia doesn't. The problem is that if at some point, Micha, if Russia does not, if at some point Russia doesn't protect its nuclear capabilities, you use it or lose it, is what they say. And I don't think Putin's ready to lose anything. So, what am I doing here? Why the hell? Why does my picture look all screwy Louie here? I guess that's the one, but why is my camera off? Like it should be over this way more. How did that happen? How did my camera get screwed up? Nope, that's worse. Better? Still needs to be over more. What the hell? Here we go. Let's see here. Nope, wrong way. Nope, wrong way. Sorry, this is bad. There we go. That looks pretty good, I guess. All right, sorry. So yeah, so this is this first one, and then so we will jump into this story here. Breaking: Boulder terrorist suspect is a legal immigrant from Egypt who entered the U.S. under the Biden administration. And there's a report from the Post Millennial. This is the guy. There was a terror attack, and I don't understand why nobody did anything. You got a person standing there with both hands holding Molotov cocktail looking devices, some kind of flammable devices. Why nobody decided that they should do something about it is mind blowing to me. It is mind blowing, but it is what it is. So let's see. It says Mohammed Sabri Salaman is an Egyptian national who entered the U.S. under the Biden administration and overstayed his visa. Wow. Mm-hmm. The man who is suspected of throwing Molotov cocktails into a crowd of peaceful protesters in Boulder Colorado on Sunday, injuring 6, is reportedly an illegal immigrant from Egypt. Mohammed Sabri Salman is an Egyptian national who entered the U.S. under the Biden administration and overstayed his visa. Fox News' Bill Melugin reports that Boulder terror suspect is an Egyptian national in the U.S. illegally as a visa overstay who entered the U.S. during the Biden administration. I'm told Mohammed Sabri Salman arrived in LAX on 8/27/2022, August 27, 2022, on a B1, B2 non-immigrant visa with an authorized stay to 2/26/23, but overstayed and never left. So he came in on like a tourist visa. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Boulder terror suspect Mohammed Sabri Salman is an illegal immigrant from Egypt who entered the U.S. under Biden, 3 sources say.
And Paul, you have talked tonight quite a lot about wanting to know about who this individual is, what about his travel, what about his background. And we can break to our viewers now, per 3 senior DHS and ICE sources to Fox, according to our colleague Bill Melugin doing some great work, that he is an Egyptian national who is in the U.S. illegally because of a visa.
Well, I don't think, I mean, I don't think it's strictly because he's illegal or here illegally or whatever that he did this. I mean, we've seen other people do things that are not illegal aliens, but the fact that he was here and overstayed a visa from Egypt, maybe they should have known about it, been looking for him. You know, maybe we should be checking these things. And if somebody comes in on a visa to stay for, you know, tourism or whatever, and they don't leave when they're supposed, like they should have a return ticket to leave. You know, like you would think, like, you know, like you wouldn't let somebody come stay in your house and they didn't tell you when they were going to leave, and then you could check on it that they were actually going to leave. You know, like they, you know, someone comes to visit, you make sure they have a round trip plane ticket, and that if they don't get on that plane ticket, you should have questions. But that's, you would think that would be normal.
Visa overstay who came during the Biden administration. Mohammed Sabri Salman first flew into the U.S., according to these 3 sources of DHS and ICE, flew into the U.S. on August of 2022 at LAX. He was authorized to stay through 2023, but never left. A little bit of more details coming into this, but you were very interested to learn as much as you can about Solomon's background.
Yeah, and, you know, so obviously one of the talking points is going to be the fact that he would not have been here and should not have been here if we were actually enforcing our immigration.
Yeah. So, yeah, he should not have been here. He would not have been here if we were enforcing our immigration law. So, right, Melugin, he filed some sort of claim with USCIS, potentially an asylum claim on 3/29. Under the Biden administration, gave him work authorization. So they let him work. See, they're not supposed to work or nothing. That's the problem. We're letting these people work and everything, and then they're just never going to leave. That information on Solomon's immigration status is per ICE and DHS sources. He's in police custody and the only suspect in the hate-fueled terror attack. Well, I mean, he's on video doing it. So, I would think, honestly, I would think Gitmo would be where he would go. But, you know, because we wouldn't want to surrender control of him, you know. Or, you know, I hear Jordan has real nice prisons. You could send him to Jordanian prison. They'll find out if it was a plan or if it was just a lone wolf. They have ways of making you talk in Jordan. He's believed to be the only person involved in the attack. Well, I mean, so far that's what you know. He was apprehended while holding Molotov cocktails, was heard to shout pro-Palestinian slogans such as Free Palestine. Wait, what? What's this? Kimberly? It says, Loomer is confirmed. He has a daughter who just graduated high school in Colorado Springs. She came here from Kuwait with her Egyptian father. I mean, that seems like something I've noticed a pattern for the Middle East specifically with people where they're from somewhere, but they never come from that country. They're always somewhere else, and there are 2 or 3 countries removed, and like they come here, they claim asylum, but they're not claiming asylum from their own country. They're claiming asylum from some other country. So why wouldn't they just go back to their own country? I don't know. To end Zionists yell, "They are killers." How many children you killed? 6 people were injured, all of them between the ages of 67 and 88. So, oh my God, all older people. 2 were airlifted to hospitals, and 1 is in critical condition. The FBI is investigating the incident as a terrorist attack. Well, yeah, obviously. Witnesses are reporting that the subject used a makeshift flamethrower and threw in. He had a flamethrower? Suspect was heard to yell "Free Palestine" during the attack. The subject was identified as Mohammed Sabri Salman, 45. FBI is processing the crime scene. They're assisting the Boulder police. The preliminary facts is this a targeted act of violence? This comes after many news outlets repeated a report that Hamas, that Israeli Defense Forces, Rafah, opened fire on Palestinians. Later, the IDF released drone footage showing that the Palestinian gunmen and masked Palestinians were the ones who opened fire on the Palestinians at the aid depot. Yeah, I've been seeing some weird stuff about that the Hamas and them were actually attacking their own people because the people were getting sick of them and were trying to, do stuff. I don't know. It's hard. That part of the world, it's always very murky trying to get the truth. It's hard, like unless you're actually there, and even then, how do you know you're not seeing exactly what someone wants you to see? There's many people that have many different things going on in that part of the world. Those who were shot were attempting to get food and had been looted from recent humanitarian aid drop in the region. The attack was against an event held on Boulder's popular Pearl Street, where protesters gathered in a vigil for the hostages still held by the Hamas terrorists in the Gaza. It's held a group called Run for Their Lives. Recurring weekly event. Okay. I want to jump back here to this because we have some other stuff. We have witness statements. There was a woman who was on the ground bleeding out. There's 2 other women whose calves were burned from the fire. So I just ran over to stay with them and make sure they didn't lose too much blood from their legs. The man was shirtless and was yelling some kind of accent, was threatening to burn people.
Then they're right out of the scene. This is a witness describing what they saw on the ground. Take a listen.
There's a woman who was on the ground bleeding out. Oh my gosh, sorry. And then there are 2 other women whose calves were burned from the fire. And so I just ran over to stay with them and make sure that they didn't lose too much blood from their legs.
And there was a woman that was burning.
Sounds horrific. Just horrific. This is like what, less than a week after that stuff that happened in DC at the 2 Israelis at the Jewish Museum in DC, and now this. Is this going to be a recurring thing that's going to keep happening week after week? This is violence coming from the left too, not that the SPLC or the ADL or anybody is going to come out and admit it, but this is not right-wing people doing this. It's just not.
On the ground. And then we noticed 2 other people that had also been affected by the burns on their legs.
It says MSNBC. This MSNBC is lying about the Boulder attack. They're calling him a white male.
As far as the investigation itself, we're still trying to verify and confirm some video, but it appears to show a significant portion of the incident as it happened. There's an individual that's taken into custody. He's a white male. Whether or not that's the person that police ultimately arrested and will ultimately charge in this crime, a bit of a question at this time, but that's just what.
Okay. All Okay, so this is talking about the mayor, or not the mayor, the police chief of Boulder, Colorado. He's an activist and who wants to be equitable. He says there's no, Phil Holloway, who's a great lawyer. He's out of Atlanta. He covers a lot of the Fannie Willis stuff. Great stuff out of that with the whole Trump case. So if you don't know who Phil Holloway is, maybe check him out. But he says there's no place for activists as police chiefs. We need professional law enforcement leaders who will call balls and strikes. So here, let's see. He's going to say, if I had to guess, he's going to say this. They have no evidence that it was a terrorist attack. That's what I bet he's going to say.
Protests going on when this occurred, were a group of people gathered, and were words said that would indicate this had anything at all to do with that protest?
So what I will tell you, on Pearl Street, it's a walking pedestrian mall downtown here. There was a lot of people out. Very beautiful day. There was a group of pro-Israel people that were there in a peaceful demonstration. I wouldn't even call it a protest. I believe that happens frequently down here. They were there in that area. We are looking and actively interviewing victims and witnesses to determine if that group was targeted or others, and we just don't have those answers yet. Those are things we hope to be able to provide you later this evening.
FBI is already calling it a targeted terror attack. Mm-hmm. Would you also refer to it as a terror attack?
So I've been in contact with our local FBI multiple times. We are in contact with them here. We are not calling it a terror attack at this point. Again, it's way too early to speculate motive. I know there's a lot out there on social media, but I ask people just to give us a little bit of patience while
we'll get to that on Hyphenated.
A really complex scene. A lot of witnesses were here. We've taken them to another location to debrief them and interview them. As we do that, I think the picture will become more clear. But it would be irresponsible for me to speculate on motive this early on. We're only a couple hours into this thing.
It's weird though. They never have a problem speculating on motive when it actually. See, I don't want to go there. It's just going to get me upset. I know I shouldn't hold back, but yeah. Okay. We'll get to that in a second. Oh yeah, this is this, and this is another story. This is a story. Oh, I don't know. You guys remember this? We could stop on this real quick. This is gonna be a short little story. You remember this is that boxer that was at the controversial Olympic champion. Turns out it's a man. So I don't know what they're going to do about it, but we'll get. This is kind of a tangent story. Yeah, the police chief. We're not going to call it a terror attack. It's too early. Okay, so let's. We'll jump into this. We'll go further. So, Madman launches targeted terror attack with Molotov cocktails, makeshift flamethrowers, setting at least one victim ablaze while shouting "Free Palestine" at the Israeli hostage event, Boulder, Colorado. So, kind of. Yeah, Death Angel Shadow. That's the one who beat up the women in the ring. Kind of sounds like this might be a hate-fueled madman launched a targeted terror attack in Colorado on Sunday, setting at least one woman on fire and injuring 6 total as he screamed "Free Palestine" and used a makeshift flamethrower against an elderly crowd commemorating Israeli hostages still in Gaza, officials said. Video footage captured of the alleged attacker, who FBI officials identified as Mohammed Sabri Salaman, in the middle of a tirade about Palestine and calling for death to Zionists before he tossed the fiery containers. "They are all killers," he says. "How many children you killed?" The man, who was reportedly in the country illegally, shouted. "End Zionists," he said. I mean, I guess you could say it looks like a white man. I guess, because he kind of looks white there. I hope they didn't. I hope they didn't do any funny business with the pixelation or the color contrast on this, like they did to OJ back in the day when they made OJ real dark to make him look ominous. I think it was Time Magazine. Yeah, Miss 99. Someone should have, but for whatever reason, nobody had the capability to do it. I mean, even this, he's just standing there. He doesn't have. This must be the flamethrower down here. Maybe this is the makeshift flamethrower they're talking about. He had some kind of garden sprayer, but somebody could have just ran and tackled him right here, or done something. They could have hit him with something. You know, I understand, Pat Hacker. I'm just saying that I understand. I'm just saying that I can't completely fault the media for saying it's a white man if they saw this picture. That's all I'm saying. You know, that's all. So clearly, if he's from Egypt or the Middle East, he's not a white man. You know, that would be, misidentifying him racially, and removing his minority status and whatever else the left tries to give people. Crazed madman threw Molotov cocktails at people during an Israeli hostage event in Boulder, Colorado. Yes. Here's some pictures. So there's more. I mean, but he's here. He is here off to this side. He's over here. And these people are just standing there and this guy's screaming. I mean, wouldn't you got out of there? I would have left. I would have boogied down out of there. And there he is getting arrested. And some more stuff. And I don't know. Those look like kind of dressing bottles, like some kind of fancy dressing or something, or maybe water bottles. But yeah, we saw what happened to Daniel Penny when he stepped up to help people. They don't say, Death Angels, they don't say if that's what he did or if he just tore his shirt off for other reasons, or who knows. I don't know. He's clearly a lunatic, so who knows? People do that all the time. They'll just tear the shirt off. Is everybody seeing? I keep getting a warning that my internet connection is bad. Is my picture okay? Just let me know if it's wigging out. I'll change to a different source. Oh, this is a good story, too. Northern lights will be visible across most of the U.S. thanks to a severe geomagnetic storm. So it's 6 victims between the ages 67 and 88 were all hospitalized with various burn wounds. FBI Denver Special Agent Mark Mikulek said 2 were medevaced and at least 1 was left in critical conditions. Solomon, 45, was also hospitalized. Boulder Police Chief Steve Redfern said. Thanks, Atora fan. I appreciate you letting me know that I'm as ugly as usual. The terror suspect, an Egyptian national, had overstayed his visa and was in the country illegally. Department of Homeland Security and Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials told Fox News. Solomon allegedly landed in the U.S. at the Los Angeles International Airport on August 27, 2022, with an authorized stay through February 26, 2023. So he had a 6-month visa, basically, but stayed in the country. After filing a claim, he was cleared for work authorization by the U.S. Customs and Immigration Service on March 29, 2023, which expired this March. The Biden administration granted the alien a visa, and then when he illegally overstayed, they gave him a work permit. Stephen Miller wrote on X. He's the White House Deputy Chief of Staff. Immigration security is national security. No more hostile migration. Keep them out and send them back. That's a good policy. Keep them out and send them back. The man was holding bottles of clear liquid while waiting for the group outside the downtown courthouse, said an organizer for the outdoor weekly commemoration Run for Their Lives in Boulder 9 News. He then apparently lit the liquid and chucked the containers at the walkers, striking 5 people and badly burning 1 woman who had to roll on the ground to extinguish the flames. Well, at least, she stopped, dropped, and rolled. Always remember that if, you ever catch on fire, stop, drop, and roll. Don't run and scream. That doesn't work. That's for bees. If you're getting stung by bees, you run and scream and jump in the water. Oh, sorry. You shouldn't make light. He then apparently lit the... Oh, there he is again. Seen holding this. There he's getting arrested. Redfern said calls started flooding 911 shortly after the attack at 1:26 p.m. local time. The initial callers indicated there was a man with a weapon and people had been set on fire. We were on the scene very quickly. When we arrived, we encountered multiple victims that were injured with injuries consistent with burns and other injuries. The suspect was pointed out by the crowd and taken into custody without incident. So he didn't even try to leave. He just stuck around. I'm going to hang out here. Maybe, I mean, oh, maybe he wanted to get martyred. Maybe he thought they would martyr him. Maybe he was trying to suicide by cop or something. The FBI will be investigating the situation as an act of terrorism, Mikulek confirmed. As a result of these preliminary facts, it is clear this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism, he said. Sadly, attacks like these are becoming too common across the country. This is an example of how perpetrators of violence continue to threaten communities across our nation. This is from Midera June something 246071 on Twitter. Jewish protesters have been set on fire in what is being reported as a terrorist attack in Boulder, Colorado. The attack occurred at 13th and Pearl with reports of several victims, including children, caused by throwing. Okay, now see, I don't know. I thought that other report said it was all adults between the ages like 68 and up. I didn't see anything about children. So I hope there was no children involved. Oh, maybe I shouldn't play this. I don't know. The smoke and fire and all that stuff. It's probably not. It's probably graphic, so probably not play this. So, the Department of Homeland Security is working alongside the FBI to investigate the terrorist attack. DHS Secretary Kristi Moen said just after 7 p.m. Our agents and law enforcement are on the scene already, and we will share updates as more information becomes available. Run for Their Lives asserted that the weekly gathering was not a protest. It's a peaceful walk to show solidarity with the hostages and their families and a plea for their release. The walk started at 1 p.m. and trailed down Pearl Street and A Street before heading to the Pearl Street Mall where the attack took place. They were set to stop at the local courthouse for a video as well. Colorado Governor Jared Polis condemned the attack and assured that he will provide updates when available. I'm closely monitoring the situation in Boulder, and my thoughts go out to the people who have been injured and impacted by this heinous act of terror. Hate-filled acts of any kind are unacceptable. So he didn't say the thoughts and prayers, though. So his thoughts go out, but not prayers, because he's not a religious person. We'll just leave it at that. The Anti-Defamation League is also monitoring the attack. So the ADL is monitoring the attack. They're not ready to come out and say what it is yet. Mere hours before Shavuot, a Jewish holiday that always takes place 7 weeks after Passover's conclusion, is set to begin tonight. In New York City, the NYPD says it will be increasing police presence at religious sites for the duration of Shavuot, according to the post on X. Photos circulating have depicted a shirtless man at the scene holding 2 bottles of clear liquid and later being detained by police. The Boulder Police Department has not released any further details. Police have ordered that everyone avoid the surrounding areas. The attack occurred less than 2 weeks after a couple was shot dead outside an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum by a suspect who shouted, "Free Palestine, free Palestine." I didn't even think it was 2 weeks ago. I thought it was last week. I thought that was like last Sunday or was it Friday or something? I don't know. Maybe it was 10 days ago. I don't know. The victims, Yaron Lashinsky, 28, and Sarah Medgrim, 26, a pair of Israeli embassy workers about to be engaged, were allegedly executed. They were executed. It wasn't alleged. I mean, they were killed by hate-filled. It should say. See, I hate when they do this because this is we're allegedly executed. It should say we're executed allegedly by. Not that they were allegedly executed. They were executed. It's not alleged that they were executed. It's just alleged that who did it. So, but they play these funny words always. I don't know, funny games. They play funny games with words. Coming so soon after the cold-blooded murders of 2 Israeli embassy staff members outside a Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C., the Boulder attack serves as yet another chilling indicator of the growing normalization of Jew hatred worldwide and the failure of too many to draw clear moral lines against the perpetrators of anti-Semitic violence and those who incite them. The organization Combat Anti-Semitism said in the statements. Rodriguez has been linked to a far-left group known regularly for spewing anti-Semitic remarks on social media. Yes, the group Rodriguez is linked to is called the Revolutionary Communist Party of the United States and also the Democratic Socialists of America. So yeah, those are the far-left groups, you know. there's that story, and it's very sad. And we hope that everyone recovers, no one dies, and that this just should stop. There's no reason that anyone should be getting attacked here for supporting the release of hostages, for sure, or even the people that are supporting Israel, or the people supporting Palestinians. Neither one should be attacked for their beliefs. I mean, supporting Hamas, I think, is a crime. I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm not a lawyer, so it's not legal advice, but I would think supporting a terrorist organization is probably against the law. Other than that, Palestinian people, there's no reason that people can't support them and want them to be safe and not harmed in any way. Maybe they should try a little harder to get rid of the terrorists in their midst. So now we will jump into the another story that I wanted to get to. So let's see this. It's a brief story here. Share this tab instead. So Trump nominates lawyer Paul Ingrassia to lead the Office of Special Counsel. The appointment follows months of turbulence at the watchdog agency. It says this is a thread. This isn't a thread. This is not a thread. People don't know what a thread is? Why? I guess I'll just do this then. President Donald Trump on Thursday nominated Paul Ingrassia, a lawyer and former podcast host, to lead the Office of Special Counsel, the OSC, a watchdog agency that investigates complaints of government corruption and protects whistleblowers. 29-year-old Cornell graduate currently serves as the White House liaison to the Department of Homeland Security, a role that traditionally involves helping coordinate policy, personnel, and political strategy between the department and executive offices. While in Cornell Law School, Ingrassia helped co-host the political commentary podcast Right on Point with his sister. During the 2024 Republican presidential primary, he argued that former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley was not a natural-born citizen and not eligible to be president, a theory that was later shared by Trump on his Truth Social platform. Well, I don't know her circumstances of Nikki Haley. If her parents were not citizens and her parents were not legal permanent residents of the United States when she was born, then I don't know. I mean, I think that's something, because the only case law that they go back to is the Juan Kim Ark case, which was about someone whose parents were not naturalized U.S. citizens and weren't natural born U.S. citizens, but were permanent residents, permanent lawful residents of the United States, which means that they weren't sojourners, which means they weren't just trailing through. Also means that they didn't have, they decided to make it their permanent home. So if Nikki Haley's parents had decided to, were permanent legal residents of the United States when she was born, then she is a U.S. citizen, even under Juan Kim Ark, even under the current facts that the Trump administration is trying to put forth about the birthright citizenship at the Supreme Court. If her parents were lawful permanent residents, she would be a U.S. citizen. I don't know what the facts are to that. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have went off on that tangent. On May 29th, post on social media, Trump said, Ingrassia is a highly respected attorney, writer, and constitutional scholar who has done a tremendous job in his current position. Ingrassia responded to a social media post pledging to restore competence and integrity to the executive branch and special counsel with a focus on eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal workforce. He also vowed to revitalize the rule of law and fairness and enforcement of the Hatch Act. The Hatch Act. Which generally prohibits federal employees from engaging in partisan political activity while on duty and in their workplace. I think they should focus on that. Ingrassia's appointment follows months of turbulence. In February, Trump fired then special counsel Hampton Dellinger, a Biden appointee, who was Hunter Biden's college roommate. So let's not forget, that Hampton Dellinger of the Country Club Dellingers, there you go, Andrew Branca, that's a little shout out to you, was Hunter Biden's college roommate. So yeah, Trump did not want Hunter Biden's college roommate as the special counsel. So that would just be like plain stupid. Dellinger sued to keep his job, was temporarily reinstated, but then the Supreme Court said, fuck right off. So Dellinger continued to take official actions while the legal battle played out. He launched an investigation into complaints against the Trump administration, mass reduction of federal workforce, and argued before the Merit System Protection Board, the MSPB, that administrative system for federal workers to appeal employment, that the Department of Agriculture's firing of more than 4,000 probationary workers violated civil service protections. Yeah. Yeah, he was there just to be a thorn in Trump's side. He was basically there to fuck with anything Trump did and try to stick his thumb in his eye. The dispute concluded in March when Dellinger, dropping the lawsuit after a 3-judge panel for the District of Columbia granted a request from the president to halt the lower court order that blocked his removal. The OSC has since closed the investigation in May, filing with the MSPB that the office acknowledged the current federal regulations allow agencies to dismiss probationary workers with very limited restrictions on reasons for termination. The OSC has also rescinded guidelines that barred federal employees from wearing political campaign paraphernalia under the Biden administration. The office had reminded federal employees that they should not wear Make America Great Again hats or use the hashtag like MAGA or Trump24 in social media posts while in the workplace to avoid hashtag violations. So yeah, so they under Biden, they were allowed to support any left-wing cause, any Democrat cause, Black Lives Matter, Planned Parenthood, all these things. They were able to publicly do that, but not anyone on the right. So it was like a double standard type of thing. So that was just a quick article about that kind of a thing. I thought it was interesting. If you followed any of the stories about the Hampton Dellinger of the Country Club Dellingers and his lawsuits, and then when he realized he was losing, he tried to drop the lawsuit because he didn't want to put a giant L on the board and have to take it. So we will now jump to this. This is Jim Ferguson, UK. Said, breaking, Russian nuclear doctrine triggered. Ukraine's drone strike reportedly targeted a Russian nuclear-capable bomber base, technically activating Russia's nuclear doctrine. Which is true. It would also, if this happened to the U.S., if somebody tried to strike one of our boomers, our nuclear subs that have missiles on them, or somebody tried to strike our B-52s or our B-2 bombers or anything like that, that would definitely trigger our nuclear doctrine, the same as it would if they attacked missile silos in Kansas. It's just the way it is. There's a reason there's a triad. It's all three so that you have it. If somebody takes out one, you have the other ones that you can strike back. But, for Ukraine to strike at this, knowing what it was and knowing what it would cause, they're trying to escalate the war. They're basically daring Russia to nuke them. Putin hasn't launched nukes. He hasn't even turned off Ukraine's power grid. But the targeting of Russia's strategic deterrent is a clear red line. This isn't a theory anymore. This is doctrine. So, fundamental of state policy of the Russian Federation in the field of nuclear deterrence, approved by the President of Russia, 11/19/2024. Conditions for the transition of Russian Federation to the use of nuclear weapons. Clause 19. The conditions determining the possibility of use of nuclear weapons by the Russian Federation are C. The enemy's impact on critically important state or military facilities of the Russian Federation, the incapacitation of which will lead to the disruption of the response actions of nuclear forces. So what this means is if somebody does something that could hamper Russia's ability to respond to a nuclear attack with their own nuclear weapons, they have grounds to respond with nuclear weapons. Pretty fucking scary. It is. It's extremely scary. I don't know. This is the... I'm a child of the 80s. I grew up fearing nuclear war with the Soviet Union, thinking about it, worrying about it, the constant fear that, at any moment that they could just launch at us or whatever and wipe out the whole world. It was a scary time. I don't think it was ever as scary as it is right now, because nobody was doing what is happening right now. So this is from this guy. He says he's a member of the Ukrainian parliament. His appeal to Donald Trump and his team with a proposal to consider a real alternative to Zelensky in a negotiation process. They're ready to enter the process on the behalf of Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. They've advocated for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. and he's been subject to torture and persecution by Zelensky. The people of Ukraine want peace. Zelensky must go. They are the real mechanisms to make it happen. This guy. I don't know. He looks kind of Ukrainian. So, the United States has warned European allies that Russia is preparing a disproportionate response to today's attack on air bases. Those would be Russian missiles, by the way. The Russians have a much larger stockpile of mobile nuclear missile launchers than the United States has ever have. They're very big on being able to move them around. We focused mostly on cruise missiles and on submarine launched ballistic missiles, the Titan III and stuff like that. So here. Ukraine wipes out dozens of Russia doomsday nuclear bombers in a massive surprise attack on air bases, Kiev says. This is Russia's Pearl Harbor. Is this? There's no sound with this? Huh. Ukrainian drone attack on Russian classes bridge onto train tracks. How do I get out of here now? Ukrainian forces stunned the Russian military Sunday after wiping out and damaging dozens of nuclear bombers and other aircraft with ambitious and complicated attacks that struck President Vladimir Putin's air bases deep inside the country, Kiev says. Even pro-Moscow military bloggers are calling the strike, which used drones hidden in trucks, the Russian Pearl Harbor. Yeah, I think from what I'm reading other places, they put drones inside of like 18-wheelers and other trucks that came into Russia from Finland. That's not that's actually I don't know, war crime. They're involving a country that's not involved in the war. They're attacking from another country's land, another country that just happens to be like NATO aligned, like connected to NATO. Seems like, I don't know, someone's trying to get NATO involved. The attack came just a day before the leaders of Ukraine and Russia were potentially set to meet in Istanbul as part of a U.S.-backed ceasefire talks. Seems like Ukraine and Zelensky is doing whatever it can to fuck up any peace talks. Like, at some point, Russia's going to get tired of playing pussyfoot with Ukraine, and it's going to say goodbye, and they're not going to care how many people they kill in Ukraine. And once that happens, I pray for all the people in Ukraine because they're not going to enjoy what happens. It seems like Russia has gone out of their way to not just steamroll through Ukraine completely and just eviscerate it like they did during World War II when they were rolling through, chasing the Germans all the way back to Berlin. Could be a little different if they decided. A picture of SBU chief Vasily Maluk planning operation. When dated, location not disclosed. Ukrainian drone attacks in Russia. Olyan Air Base, Avienko Air Base, Balya Air Base, and Dagalev Air Base. The mission, carried out by Ukraine's security service, used first-person view FPV drones hit 41 Russia heavy bombers and other warplanes at 4 separate airfields, thousands of miles from Ukraine. The cost of the destroyed aircraft, most of which Russia can no longer even manufacture, is at least $7 billion. The Doomsday bombers are a critical part of Russia's nuclear deterrent, originally designed to obliterate the U.S. and Europe with atomic weapons in an event of all-out war. This is a Tu-95 Bear. They call it Bear bomber. The U.S. calls them bears. I don't think. Ukraine said the aircraft had been converted and were being used to pummel their country with cruise missiles. Officials claimed they had destroyed more than 1/3 of Russia's strategic bombers in the strike. Now, they're calling them, Ukraine and everyone on the West, the NAFO bros and all them, they are calling them strategic bombers. Strategic bombers is, by definition, bombers to protect your country from annihilation. They are the bombers used to deploy nuclear weapons. The Tu-95 Bear nuclear bombers, Tu-22 Backfire fast attack bombers, and the A-50 Mainstay command and control jets were among the aircraft that were destroyed in the strike, according to reports. One of the bases hit was the Irkutsk region of Siberia, almost 2,500 miles from Ukraine. Others targeted were in Murmansk in the Arctic Circle, Kayazan, southeast of Moscow, Avianovo, to the northeast of Russian capital. The attack, codenamed Operation Spiderweb, took some 18 months of planning and will deal a huge blow to Moscow's efforts to launch long-range missile attack on Ukrainian cities, Kayev said. Video shows what appears to be a row of heavy bomber aircraft on fire at one of the air bases. You're getting ads, Steve, on YouTube? You shouldn't be getting ads on YouTube for a live stream. What are they doing? Oh, what the? Hold on. Hold on. What is going on, YouTube? What are you doing? What are you doing to me, YouTube? YouTube, what are you doing to me, YouTube? Oh. Okay. Back to the story. I hope that fixed it. Oh. Huh. I didn't know. I thought live streams only got ads after it ended, like on replays. I didn't know it got ads while it was doing the live stream. I didn't know. Sorry. I shut it off. Where are we at here? Footage on social media shows FPV drones launching from a parked trucks next to the Russian airfields. I don't mind ads. Would like sentences, though. What do you mean by sentences? I'm not speaking in sentences? The SBU first transported FPV drones to Russia and later on the territory of the Russian Federation. The drones were hidden under the roofs of mobile wooden cabins already placed on trucks, a source told the Kiev Independent. At the right moment, the roofs of the cabins were opened remotely and the drones flew to hit the Russian bombers. Ukraine said the attack was launched in response to Russia carrying out one of its largest drone attacks since the start of the war last week, with 472 drones and 7 ballistic and cruise missiles involved, according to Ukrainian authorities, who said that they had neutralized 385 aerial targets. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky personally oversaw the operation. Zelensky bragged that the Operation HQ had operated right next to the building housing Russia's secret police That's dumb to do, to say where you were operating out of. These are Ukrainian actions that will undoubtedly be in the history books, he said. Yeah, it could be in the history books to start in World War III, nuclear war. It could be in those history books. So congratulations, retard. One year, 6 months, and 9 days from the start of planning to effective execution. So he's saying they were planning this for a year, 6 months, and 9 days, and they just happened to go through it one day before peace talks. Kind of sounds like somebody didn't want to actually get the peace talks going. Our people involved in preparing the operation were withdrawn from Russian territory in time, he went on. Earlier, a post featuring an emoji of a spider web was posted on X by Zelensky's chief of staff, Andrei Yermak. Kiev did not tell the White House in advance of the attack. President Trump has urged Moscow and Kiev to work together on a deal to end the 3-year war, and this attack could further stall the path to peace. Ukraine has said it is committed to peace, but was waiting for a memorandum from the Russian side setting out its aims before agreeing to meet with Russia. For a meeting to be meaningful, its agenda must be clear and the negotiations must be properly prepared, Zelensky wrote on X on Friday. Oh, thank you, Unhyphenated, for a super sticker. The war was started in 2014 with the color revolution, the Maidan color revolution. Yes. Zelensky is insane and more than likely a cocaine addict. Non-stop cray news. SOS is for military tribunals. Have I told you lately? Hello? I don't know. Attention, all ships at sea. We have breaking news. Is that what you're talking about? Unfortunately, Russia is doing everything it can to ensure that the next potential meeting brings no results, he added. Yeah, Russia did it themselves. Russia blew up their own nuclear bombers themselves. Zelensky set out his country's position on the talks in the wake of Sunday's attacks, demanding a complete and unconditional Russian ceasefire, prisoner release, and the return of the abducted children. Russia showed fire has rejected calls for an unconditional ceasefire and repeatedly made demands that Ukraine has turned down. In separate attacks, the collapse of 2 bridges near the Ukrainian border, killing at least 7 people, has been blamed by Russian investigators on sabotage. Listen, all y'all, it's a sabotage. Well, there's that. There's that. There's that story. And so what do you guys think? Do you guys think it's going to get worse or it's going to get better? I personally think it's going to get worse long before it gets better. I think that Trump tried. Oh, what's this? Sunshine. What should be done about Lindsey Graham for his part in instigating the attack? He's not authorized to make his own foreign policy. Well, I would tell you what I really think should happen to Lindsey Graham, but I don't want to get arrested for stating my opinion. And that's basically it. Like, he should be removed from the Senate post haste, legally, and if he is conducting his own foreign policy, he should be charged with violating the Logan Act. There is actually on that front of Lindsey Graham, I did have a bit of stuff to pull up about that. It seems that Lindsey Graham, where is it? Oh, come on. Ugh. Why are you doing this to me? That Lindsey Graham and his partner in crime, Chris Murphy, when they were in Kiev, Ukraine, while Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal, I'm sorry, not Chris Murphy, Richard Blumenthal, the guy who lied about going to Vietnam, were in Kiev, Ukraine the last couple of days, they spent over $800,000 of taxpayer money. $800,000 for a few days in Ukraine. What the lever-loving crap did they buy? I mean, what possibly could you have spent that much money on in Ukraine? I don't know. I would be looking into it to see if they weren't maybe possibly paying off the people that are connected to the two guys that seem to be talking to Ukraine that tried to take out Trump. I mean, maybe this is part of that. Maybe they were paying off people. Maybe. I mean, I could be just as conspiratorial and put the tinfoil hat on and go crazy, but it seems like somebody spent a lot of money, $403,172, for this, International Business Center, 411,634. I mean, what is going on here? So 800,000, 400,000 each, for 30 days. This is nuts. This is absolutely insane. It's insane in the Ukraine. Insane in the brain. Nothing like senators spending our tax dollars to go represent a country on the other side of the world instead of their own constituents. 175 billion in Ukraine. Hey, what's another 800,000 wasted? Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. I got to agree. Yeah, and here. And our good friend Alex Jones, he has something to say about this whole thing in Ukraine.
NATO knows that Trump is very close to securing a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. And so today they ramped up drone attacks against Russian nuclear bombers, military bases, and trains and other facilities at a level unprecedented. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of drones, clearly directed by NATO communications guidance systems. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the most dangerous point yet we've been at in this war, because NATO wants to escalate this and wants to see Putin respond even more than he did a week and a half ago to the doubling of drone attacks that Ukraine has launched in the last month. And so while Zelensky for the Western media talks about peace, he's all over Ukrainian television. Go to the Drudge Report, you can see the articles bragging about these unprecedented attacks. And this is the globalists want to continue to have control over the world narrative and to derail Trump's peace initiative, where we're winning via economics, we're winning via soft power. America's coming back from the dead, and the globalists are trying to stand in the way of this right now. So pray for peace, get the truth out. This is not Trump behind this escalation. He wants.
I would say that to everyone. Pray for peace. War is hell, man. War is not good. War should be avoided, and it should be the last resort of anything, not the first resort, which just seems to be for the last 25 years in this country. It's been like, let's go, actually even longer than that. It's just go to war. Anytime something happens, let's go bomb this guy, bomb that guy, and do all that stuff. No. We need to really pull back on all that, because all it's done is put us in a position where our country's falling apart. Our infrastructure is deteriorating and crippled. We can't field the proper number of ships. We don't have the equipment to do anything because we're blowing money left and right, just blowing it all over the world instead of spending it here. So I would pray for peace if I was all of us, everyone. I would advise that. Pray for peace. Hope that somebody, cooler heads can prevail that can pull this back from the brink of what it is quickly approaching nuclear exchange. And that's the bottom line. Oh, I just want to say real quick before we continue, it's over an hour now, so I will be saying goodbye to X and goodbye to Facebook. It's been swell having you. I let you guys watch for an hour, but if you want to watch any more than an hour, come over to either Rumble or YouTube. Jim tells you. That's where all the cool kids hang out.
To de-escalation. This is the northern group. That's the majority of NATO countries that formed this new alliance. And they had promised they were going to do this. And just last week, NATO and the EU said they're going to take full restrictions off long-range bombing with their missiles all over Russia. And so we are officially at war with Russia. Even Kellogg, the head U.S. envoy to Ukraine, General Kellogg, said we are at war with Russia. That's why this needs to stop. Russia knows it. We know it. This proxy war is boiling over and is totally insane. I am begging everyone out there to understand that the globalist system is collapsing right now, and the only way they can try to maintain control is a new world war. And we're already in that right now, and all the war games lead right towards thermonuclear war and Armageddon. So for all the crazies out there, all the leftists that love evil and love war and everything else, you're getting what you want right now. And I predict we're going to see a massive response from the Russians, and the corporate media will say, look, they're attacking Ukraine for no reason. NATO started the war. They overthrew the governments of Ukraine. They did all of this. They brag about it, for God's sakes. And finally, the Trump administration comes out yesterday and admits all that and says we need to stop this, and now this happens. This is NATO and the EU trying to keep us in this war, and it is psychotic. It is flirting with planetary suicide. That's the facts.
I have to say I agree with Alex Jones. We are flirting with planetary suicide. It's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. Wait, what is going on here? Why don't I have this? Oh, this should be there. Yeah, that should be up there in the corner. Okay. So, I do have a couple more stories that I wanted to cover tonight. Let's see here. Where's that? Where's that? Not that one. Oh, well, we could cover this real quick. There was a mass casualty event involved after a multi-car crash in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, where several pedestrians were struck. We don't know whether or not this was intentional at this point. As far as I know, it just there's a multi-vehicle crash in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. 6 people were injured. They were airlifted to a medical center. Tennessee Highway Patrol, Gatlinburg PC for investigating, but the cause is still unconfirmed. Social media claims of a driver medical emergency, like a seizure or fatalities, lack official verification. The road was closed, impacting traffic in this tourist area. No further updates confirm fatalities or cause as of now. Check local news or WVLT or WATE for official updates. So this is so that I don't know what this is yet. I don't know. I did see some of the pictures. I don't want to show them because it's pretty graphic. Stuff is pretty graphic, but it looked like a lot more than just, to me, it just looked like a lot more than just somebody that had some kind of a seizure and crashed in. It looked like they plowed through a whole bunch of cars and like on multiple sides of the road and everything. So I don't know. I just don't know how that would have just been all accidental, but you never can tell. You don't know. I've heard other stories that were worse. Oh, let me pull this down. So I don't know. Oh, you guys know this is that this month is Pride Month and all. It's Pride Month. So Sesame Street wants to let everybody know that together they will build a happy person, and then families feel loved, respected for who they are, and a happy Pride Month from Sesame Street. Why? Can anyone explain to me why Sesame Street or why any children's show would have to have anything at all to do with any type of sexuality, anyone who is trying to introduce talk of any type of sexuality, I don't care if it's heterosexuality or homosexuality, either one, into kids, needs to be investigated. It needs their computers looked at, and they need to possibly go visit a wall and say hello to a wall. That's all. Yeah, it's crazy, this picture. Beware, Sesame Street is grooming your kids. This is crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. And to me, it hits. It scares me. I have 2 young grandkids who will be going to school soon, and I do not want them exposed to this stuff. I don't want, I don't. I don't know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, here's a little story that we could show. So this is from the real Robert N on Twitter. He says, Amjad Anton Fasisi, a senior CIA intelligence officer with 10 years of service at the CIA and top secret sensitive compartmented information clearance, caught on hidden camera. The higher ups in the intel community, including CIA Director Mike Pompeo and Gina Haspel, and upper levels of their staff, colluded to withhold information from the sitting president of the United States. Go figure. This explains the Xi Jinping 19 conspiracy and the overthrow of your government on November 3rd, 2020. And you know what? It's still effing happening. So let's see. This guy was caught on tape by none other than James O'Keefe of O'Keefe Media Group, Project Veritas.
I work in the intelligence community. I work in the CIA. I do cyber operations. I've been doing it for a long time.
So how long have you been working at the CIA?
Since 2008. I've also worked at NSA too. And then I have a TSSCI with a full scope polygraph. That means that I'm fully vetted.
Amjad Fasisi shows her his CIA identification badge.
No, where does it say?
Does it?
Hey, that's the point.
That's the point.
What's CMC?
China Mission Center, darling. That's my mission center.
Gotcha.
Amjad talks about how the CIA kept information from Trump.
Like working?
We kept information from him.
Say one more time.
We kept information from him.
From Trump?
Yes. He's an idiot. And there are certain people that would give him a high-level overview but never give it to me. You know why? Because he'll leak those details.
Amjad Fasisi states the higher-ups within the intel community, including CIA directors Mike Pompeo and Gina Haspel, and the upper levels of their staffs colluded to withhold information from sitting President Trump.
So the agencies kind of like all got together and said, we're not going to tell Trump.
The higher-ups.
The higher-ups.
We put it this way, the executive staff. We're talking about the director and his subordinates.
Like what titles are they? They're
Director of the CIA.
Director of the CIA would keep.
Yes.
Are you guys still watching him?
That was Raven. That was the first story I covered today. Was out of Colorado. It was about. I spent about half hour, 45 minutes on it. I think, maybe less.
I would say yes.
It sounds like you guys are still watching him and his team.
Of course we are. Nothing goes by without somebody watching.
Amjad Fasisi also states as fact that Trump is under constant surveillance and even claims they are spying on his ex-wife.
And we also have people that monitor his ex-wife.
So you guys had human sources.
How do you think we get information?
Like wiretapping? Is that
steal it?
How did you guys figure out that Trump was colluding with the Russians? Did you guys use...
It's a human intelligence.
So the intel community was able to use FISA to spy on Trump and his team. And that's how we found out that he was colluding with the Russians. Was it?
Now, I don't understand. These people are supposed to be spies. They're supposed to be smart. Why? How does he not realize that she is saying everything to get him to say stuff to get him in trouble? Oh, what's this? It says Mike Pompeo was visiting Odessa, Ukraine, day before yesterday. Well, hopefully he made it out in time. So I think we've all known all this stuff. This is a long video. I'm not going to play the whole video. Like 27 minutes. Yeah, they're bragging. They are. They're bragging. They're bragging. Yeah. I wonder what she looks like. All right. Let's go. There's another story I want to get to. Where's that? Yeah, we talked about that. Oh, you guys seen what was going on in Paris the last couple days with the riots and everything? What they're destroying and stuff. It's brutal. Oh, here's this. Another story from this guy, the real Rob guy. It's Minnesota Republican State Representative Steve Drazowski, and he has receipts. affidavits, eviction notices, marriage certificates, documents. I am presenting you with a copy of my letter as just a sampling of the materials available to you on these topics. She, Ilhan Omar, was found guilty of violations of Minnesota Campaign Finance Board and was ordered to return these funds. She appears to be a serial career criminal. Now he is demanding for her the arrest of Ilhan Omar for crimes including federal tax fraud, federal immigration fraud, federal state student loan fraud, federal state violations of perjury, bigamy, incest, kickbacks, and campaign finance abuse, spanning from the East Coast to the Mississippi River, Boston, Washington, New York, Chicago, and Florida. It's time for Trump, FBI Director Cash, and the DOJ and Pambandi to put this career criminal behind bars where she belongs.
Foreign Affairs. I'm also asking Congresswoman
Why is the
Craig
circle
to
going?
initiate an ethics investigation into Congresswoman Omar because of questions about federal tax fraud, federal immigration fraud, federal student loan fraud, and state violations of perjury, bigamy, kickbacks, and acts of campaign fraud abuse in Boston, Washington, New York, Chicago, and Florida. There are also violations of state ethics or of the Minnesota House ethics rules regarding colleges for speeches she gave while she was in partial control of their budgets as a member of the House Higher Education Finance Committee in both 2017 and 2018. She was found guilty of the violations by the Minnesota Campaign Finance Board 3 weeks ago in order to return those funds on June 6th. Ms. Omar appears to be a serial career criminal and should not have access to our nation's highest secrets and intelligence. That is why I'm calling on our Congresswoman Angie Craig to protect both our national security and our respect of the rule of law. Tax fraud, immigration fraud, student loan fraud, perjury, bigamy, kickbacks, and campaign abuse fraud from the East Coast to the Mississippi River. If those charges have been brought against Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, the Star Tribune would not have said on Sunday that she was attempting to, quote, skirt the law, and then followed up with a front page story the next day on a pie-in-the-sky proposal that had zero chances.
Hold on. Steve, are you still getting ads? I shut the monetization off. I don't even have this video monetized right now. You shouldn't be getting any ads.
Becoming law. Minnesota deserves better. America demands more. I'm presenting you with a copy of my letter and just a sampling of the materials available to you on these topics, and we'll take your questions. Here's a sampling of materials that I have offered you today. Anybody who would like them, there's many more than this available all over social media and in printed publicity and elsewhere. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take your questions.
Yes, Representative, why are you asking Angie Craig, Congresswoman Craig, to open this ethics investigation? Wasn't missing something? I think she's on the Transportation and Agriculture Committee.
Yeah, she's my congresswoman. I'm from the 2nd District. That seems to me to be the best place to ask your elected representative to represent you in forming an ethics investigation. Representative, my U.S. Congresswoman. Certainly,
something's going on. You see the circle? There's something weird going on. I wonder if it's because of
or the level of detail and.
I wonder if it's because of this. I wonder if it's because of this, this other thing that's going on.
Good morning, folks. Welcome, observers. Earth is in a level 4 solar storm right now due to CME impact. It arrived with very impressive speed, luckily not much density. We're kicking the gears with the last 24 hours of our star, where up there, things were much quieter than they were back here on Earth. No solar flaring, no further eruptive activity, and that's a good thing. Wouldn't want more on its way here while we're in a level 4 storm event. As of the afternoon update yesterday, it was a level 4 storm prediction, and that was right on target, sort of. Impact occurred in the overnight hours for the West, early morning for Europe. Plasma speed cracked 1,000 kilometers per second, which was in the forecast, but density never even reached half of what was expected. So while this level 4 event looks like an excellent prediction from NOAA,
oh my God, look at that, the line is red. You see that? It's a red line. That means it's bad. Red line bad. Red line bad. Red line bad. Red line bad. As we see the geoelectric surging taking place, all in the moderate range, I'll tell the newer viewers the reason why the storm hit level 4 despite not packing as dense a punch. 4 storm. What does that mean? Does anybody even know what the level 4 storm means? Is it bad? Level 4 bad is. I mean, what if it was a level 9? Would that be like CME impact? How high does it go? Side of these cosmic ray monitors. I'll add that we've seen this over and over again since the March 2023 major field loss acceleration. The speed or density in the solar wind isn't there to explain the storm level we actually get, and that's because our shields are down. Our shields are down.
CME was extra surge through the interplanetary magnetic
That means
field,
that
by
somebody
the way,
can hit us
taking
with a
into
photon
the
torpedo.
high level 2 proton storm range. Between that and the geomagnetic
A level
storm,
2 proton
it's kind of a
storm.
mess at the polar regions right now. I'm not sure if they're redirecting polar flights or sending ISS crew to
Hit the
safe
like
rooms,
button to
but
stop the
I'd
sun. Yes.
consider it.
Yes.
Lastly,
if you really want to stop all this from happening,
holes,
as Joe would say, you have to donate money to make the weather better.
Remember,
Donate
technological,
money to make the weather
meteorological,
gooder.
and biological impact of the solar storm can occur from the storm onset.
Yes, pay
and
more
for
taxes
36
to make the
hours
weather gooder.
after the storm dissipates. Probably 3 or 4 days of high vulnerability here. And folks, how about something pretty to look at?
Oh,
I took
look at
the
that.
rivers and watershed
Wow.
data from
Look
NASA,
at even
then I
now,
flipped the colors
because it Gay
they
Pride
had been
Month, now the whole
ridiculous.
United
This is
States
pretty cool, though.
is on the
Every
rainbow
single flow
flag.
inside the continental U.S. Folks, the full
Gooder.
schedule for the rest of the year at Observer Ranch is set. Only thing not on this list is the Experience Retreat, which will open registration in about a week or two.
Yeah, this guy, I watch this guy's stuff every morning just so everyone knows. I don't know. I find it interesting, the whole thing. I'm a history buff, and I know about the Carrington event, which happened in the late 1800s, where there was a solar flare or sunspot solar flare, which caused like telegraph machines to go crazy and light on fire and all this stuff. So, you know, I'm fascinated by it. You know, I question things like they tell us that the ice, that there was these huge glaciers and ice, you know, miles thick and all that. Somehow it melted really fast. Then, you know, the oceans rose and everything. What could have caused it to happen? What could cause that? You know, so, you know, some people think it got hit by a meteor or asteroid, comet, something like that. And other people believe it could have been a solar flare or micronova, something. I don't know. I just know something happened, you know, and this whole flood myths that are all around the world. Every religion has a flood myth everywhere you go. So I kind of think maybe there was something that happened that caused flooding, you know, and even today, you know, years ago, even a higher percentage than now of people live on the shore, lived next to water, because that's how you travel. That's where you got your food and stuff. You needed fresh sources of water to clean your food, you know, food, drinks, everything like that. So, you know, all the people would have been living next to either a lake, a river, you know, oceans. So a problem could have, you know, something would happen causing the water to come up rapidly. Could have been a great flood or something. So anyway, we'll get back to some news. Now, let me find this story. I had. I found it interesting. Boulder, Colorado. Oh, here's a thing that I was supposed. I'm sorry. This should have played. I should have played this earlier when we were talking about the Boulder, Colorado story, and I didn't. I don't know. I didn't see it. I had it saved, but I didn't see it. So, witness to the Pearl Street attack. Boulder has changed. There's security guards at bathrooms so people don't smoke meth in the bathrooms. It's dirtier. It's not safe as it used to be. Let's hear what this guy has to say.
Still exists here, but it's different. Boulder has changed. Pearl Street has changed. And, you know, there's things, I see stuff all the time and I'm like, really? Yeah. You know, now there's like security guards in front of the bathrooms so people don't smoke meth in the bathrooms. Yeah. You know, that's the truth. It's out there. Things, it's.
Does anyone else see that thing on his nose that looks like someone hit him? And, oh, Spuds with $2. Thank you, Spuds. Ice ages are climate change. Yes, it's true. The climate is always changing. And you know that we are technically still coming out of an ice age? So that's why it is getting warmer, because we're coming out of an ice age. That's just science, people. Oh, Jim loves dirty bathroom stories. I do. I would have appreciated if somebody would have came here to tell me a dirty bathroom story today. I didn't have to just imagine them all up on my own, Dave. Would have been nice. You have the link. How was it that Melchizedek didn't make it through Noah's flood? I don't know. That would be a great question for Great Logic. He would have an answer for that. I don't have an answer for that. I just know that there's a whole bunch of stories, and it's weird too, because you know you have the Gilgamesh story, the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is similar to the Noah story, and some people say that it's the same story. I don't think so. I think there's been multiple flood instances that have happened. But that's just my personal opinion. I am not a scholar on the stream is not sinking.
Dirtier than it used to be. It's not as safe as it used to be, but you don't expect to see it at that level.
Yeah, Andrew, you're right. What? Go. No, right. Right.
Okay, so there was that. I forgot to play that. But there is, let's see, there was one other thing here. There's a story I wanted to get to. There's this. Oh, yeah. General Michael's talking about this. They had to go ahead to attack this one, yeah. It appears Zelensky gave the go-ahead to attack park Russian nuclear-capable bombers without performing at real Donald Trump. If it's true that our president was not consulted nor informed, this isn't simply a breach of protocol, it's a geopolitical insult and a warning sign. If Ukraine is willing to conduct strikes with strategic consequences without notifying the White House, we are no longer allies with coordination issues. We are co-belligerents flying blind. Also, given Senator Warmonger Lindsey Graham and Senator Denang Dick Blumenthal's recent visit, this attack could appear as though it was sanctioned. I pray the Russians have better intelligence than that. In my honest opinion, these two don't have the sense or common sense to pull something like this off. There would have to be denials, though. FYI, those bombers that were hit have to be out in full view due to the nuclear treaty obligations. Zelensky took advantage of that. For instance, they appear to have hidden the drones and containers that were driven on trucks near the airbase. Smart use of deception. However, imagine any one of our big bomber bases having the exact same thing done to them. Very costly U.S. strategic bombers can be taken out in the same way by anyone with access to inexpensive drones. Delivery trucks, explosives, and a bit of technical knowledge. Not good, and new tactics will have to be developed. People, and especially world leaders, need to realize the global implications to such an operation as Ukraine just pulled off. Russia will respond. Action, reaction, counteraction. Those are the shifting tides of war. This wasn't a bold action. It was brash. Ukraine's short-term win could be the world's long-term loss. Despite what is a complete mess right now in Europe, there are still solutions to achieving peace. They are narrowing, however, and time, as it often does, becomes an enemy instead of a useful friend. Yeah, I think what he's talking about. Oh, what's this? Which one in the Pacific? There's multiple ones. Hey, look at this. We have a friend here. His name is Mark, and he's here to say hello.
Hello. That's it. No.
Okay. So, what do you think? Do you think Ukraine is inching us into a nuclear war with Russia?
I've been thinking that for quite a while. I think that Zelensky is, I don't know, he's a special kind of person. You know, I've never quite understood him. By the way, he's short as fuck. Anyways, that doesn't matter.
Is he taller than Viva Frey?
Oh, Viva's a little guy.
He is a little guy. That's
a hard one to answer. But I like Viva a lot better than I like Zelensky.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I was going to say, Viva doesn't have that Napoleon complex that Zelensky clearly has.
Oh, yes. Oh, and remember how at his heyday, when he would come into town or he would visit, the UN or wherever, and people are like bowing down to him, basically kissing the ring, saying, "Oh, you're the world's greatest hero." And he just loved it. And then when that whole thing with Trump happened, he said, "Wait a second. I thought I'm the world's hero. Why wasn't I received this way? What happened?"
Yeah, I don't get it. 5'5" 3/4" is who? Is that Zelensky?
Wow.
Is 5'5" 3/4"? So he's under 5'6".
And the funny thing is, Napoleon wasn't actually that small.
That's short. Yeah,
exactly. That's the funny thing.
Wasn't Zelensky or Napoleon was actually like 5'8" or 5'9", right?
Yeah, exactly. He was like average height from my day. Before people were regularly like 6'2" or 6'3". I mean, when I was young, I'm in my 60s. When I was young, I'm 5'10", and people actually called me tall back then. It's because people have gotten taller. Something about nutrition or whatever, I don't know. It's really weird. Anyways, by the way, I was watching you for a while, and I saw you, kidding about, oh, somebody should come on here and all of that. I said, Jim, I'm looking at you doing this, and I'm saying, this is fantastic. I mean,
you think so?
Talking to
right?
you talking to the chat and doing that. I can see you doing this for years. It's great to have people on, but every now and then you gotta say it's me and it's my chat. So yeah, you've been doing You're doing great.
I honestly, I was extremely nervous of being able to actually talk to the chat and not just space out and go, duh, you know.
Yeah,
and,
I know. Well, it is funny because we've been on streams where, like, say we're on Dave's stream and Dave gets up and goes away and you say, oh shit, it's not my show. What do I do? You know, and you're sitting there and you're stuck. Say, oh man. But if it's your show, you know what kind of message you want to give. You know, so I think you'll do great with that. I was surprised that nobody was here, you know, because I figured a bunch of people would be here.
I thought I had arranged for Cynic and Uncapped Turtle to be regulars on Sunday nights, but I guess not. I guess I have to reconfirm that with them. I don't know.
It's difficult because I'd love to come on like with Dave's stream. I'd love to come on all the time, you know, but you know, you look and say, oh shit. You know, it's a lot of nights, it's a lot of hours and all of that. And you say, it's easier to like sleep or something, you know? But yeah, don't worry about it though. I think you do really good with it. So
okay. Well, we have this another story I wanted to get into, and I'm glad you're here because I could get your opinion. You probably have a similar opinion to me on this, I would think, but we shall see. So this is from Mark Rubera. It says the needless deaths caused by cannabis. The suicide of a talented violinist, a father brutally murdered on a train in front of his young son, an addicted mother who drowned her 2 small children, an entire family wiped out by a knife maniac. All right? So we will go to the story here and bring it up, okay? The actual story. And, I just want to say right now, like, I'm not opposed to... Let me fix this. Wait, where are we at? Where's it at? What the hell's going on here? I'm not opposed to legalization of drugs, like decriminalizing, I should say.
Right.
I don't think people should go to jail for having drugs, you know, cannabis, marijuana, cannabis, whatever you want to call it, cocaine, heroin, any drug. I don't think you should get in prison for just simply possessing it. I don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't. I also don't think that it should be promoted by governments to like get people to take it and basically pushing it on people because it's developed. Marijuana specifically has gone in a way like when we were younger, let's just admit it, when we were younger, right. You would have to smoke an eighth ounce of weed to get really high.
Apparently, and the funny thing is, I remember that, and I wondered way back in the day, what are people talking about? And today I hear the stuff that's out there. It's been years, so I don't know.
Oh no, yeah,
but the stuff that's out there is amazingly powerful.
Oh yeah, you smoke one hit and it's like you're just out there, and then people are doing it, and they got the vape pens, they got the edibles and everything, and like I did a 50 milligram edible a couple of years ago on New Year's. I was tripping.
Yeah.
It was like I was on acid. I was like, this is insane.
Yep.
And it was 50 milligrams, and I was told it's not that strong. So I don't know.
The funny thing is this story, because I told the story on, I don't know, one of Dave's streams or something. It was about Jack Webb and Dragnet. Mm-hmm. And they did a big thing about how evil marijuana was. And they had young people of the day, supposedly, like older teenagers, who were 40 years old. All right. That's how they did the casting back then. And they had them in the men in a suit and the woman in a dress and all of that. And they were just regular people. And the whole point of this episode, where Jack Webb talked nonstop, faster than Ben Shapiro for the entire episode. And at the end of the episode, they had their little kid, who was like a 2-year-old, drowned face down in Minecraft water. and the gotcha is, oh my God, if only they didn't smoke marijuana.
Yeah, I don't see back then. That story was insane because at that time, I mean, nowadays, I don't know. I mean, what it's doing though, when they're noticing a huge increase in like schizophrenia, it's like it's causing basically like it's crazy because the marijuana, the strength of it today, is actually causing the problems that Reefer Madness warned about
years ago. Yeah,
and everyone said that's insane. It doesn't happen because it didn't then, but it is now. Like, wow.
And you wonder if could it be the chemicals or whatever they're putting in it? Could it be that the technology has actually gotten so good that it is what it could have been, but we were too primitive back then to make it as good? I don't know, but I'm suspicious of everybody and everything, so I don't trust them. So I look at that and say, damn, Jack Webb got his wish. They made this stuff so terrible that they're right. This is the gateway drug. This will kill every human being, babies. I don't know. I don't trust them. So
So it says, the needless deaths. It's all these people that have been dying because of it. It says, what better way for the mayor of London to launch a drug debate than to pose a picture framed with the forest of cannabis plants? So thought Sadiq Khan's aides when he announced a commission to look at decriminalizing the drug in Britain. It was decided that a taxpayer-funded fact-finding mission to the United States needed to discover how Los Angeles has fared since recreational marijuana became legal. Wait. Why does it look like this? What is going on here? Why is my screen?
You got a border problem, right? Is what you're talking about?
Yeah, I have a border issue. I guess
the zoom in seems to be dropping out the borders. Yeah.
Shouldn't be though. I guess that's the biggest I can make it. I guess.
That's actually not too bad. I'm not even full screen. I can still see it. So.
Okay. Yeah. So it was decided that taxpayer funded. Yeah. So to check marijuana become legal in California 4 years ago. Thus, Sir Sadiq found himself facing the cameras in May 2022 in a laid-back surrounds of a cannabis factory in LA's downtown district. He declared that hearing from those who cultivate and grow this plant has been fascinating. Naturally, his bouncy enthusiasm for a change in the law back home found favor in liberal quarters. For one, Gary Linker, felt compelled to offer the world his opinion. Others warned the mayor, who oversaw Britain's biggest police force, that his time would be better spent tackling drug and knife crime in his capital. Indeed, and perhaps worth noting, that just a month before Sir Sadiq flew into the U.S., marijuana-addicted Joshua Jack slaughtered 3 generations of a family in a psychotic frenzy not 3 miles from the mayor's office. So there he is.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's the addict that slaughtered people. So,
well, that's a look. That's a look on the face, though, that looks like you were talking about, like what we would consider hard drugs back then.
Yeah.
Now, from what you're saying about how bad weed is.
Well, no, but it's super strong. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's,
yeah.
No, listen, I'll tell you, I'm talking about when I was in high school. So it was like you get like you buy an eighth or a dime bag or something and basically smoke the whole thing.
Yeah.
But and when I got older in my 20s, there was places you could get ounces of jar weed, which was a jar, basically a mason jar, which was a 1 ounce of like these huge buds that were like different, Purple Haze and different brand Northern Lights and stuff that were really good and expensive, but anyway.
Northern Lights. See, that Jim ties everything back together. There we are. There's solar flares.
I didn't name them. That's just what they call the stuff. But it was some good stuff back then. So it was a case, observed the judge, that offered a salutary lesson about the dangers of cannabis. 3 years on, the London Drug Commission's work is now done. Unsurprisingly, last week the mayor backed its recommendation to decriminalize the possession of small amounts of cannabis, which I'm fine with. They should, it shouldn't be a crime to possess it. It just be a crime to give it to kids or to do certain things. If you're driving a vehicle and you're stoned, then it should be the same as drinking and driving.
Well, exactly. I mean, it should enhance whatever the thing is. Oh, you were high as a kite on this stuff? Well, guess what? You're intoxicated. That's no good. Bad on you. But if you can walk down the street, and you're high, they shouldn't, grab you and say, "Oh my God, you're high. You're going to jail." What the fuck? No.
It says, although Sir Sadiq has no power to lift the marijuana ban in London, he urged ministers to consider the proposals, saying that they were compelling and the evidence based. So the evidence is based. Although Sir Sadiq has no power. Oh, my God. Try telling that, though, to the family of the gifted violinist Laura Bauer McKnight, 22, who, on the cusp of a promising career, killed herself at her family home in Lincolnshire. Or the wife of IT consultant Lee Pomeroy, stabbed 18 times in front of his 14-year-old son on the day trip to London. Or the husband of Kyra Alexander, 47, who drowned her two sons, aged 2 and 5, in a bath, then tucked them in bed for him to find them. What? Oh, okay, for the husband to find them. Okay.
Those do not sound like realistic examples of, drug use made me do that. That sounds like crazy shit that people do.
Well, that's the thing that they're saying is that the marijuana, once you get past like 14 or 18% THC or whatever it is, or I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Once you get past a certain point, the effects it has on your brain, if you have any like borderline personality disorders, or if you're like, you're not really nuts, but man, you could get pushed that way. It basically snaps something in your brain. It makes you goofy.
I could see that. I mean, with any kind of drug. Remember what we always say about when people are drunk. The truth comes out when you're drunk. Now, you may edit yourself during normal days and all of that, not really think what you're saying, but when you're really out there and you start saying, I never liked so-and-so anyways, you probably mean it. So imagine if you're already leaning towards nuts and you take a drug as powerful as these new ones are. Yeah, maybe it is actually kind of, real in the truth.
It could be. I don't know. I don't want people going to jail for mere possession of drugs. Like, that shouldn't be happening.
Remember all the people who are in jail for a very long time still because they had the weak shit we're talking about from years ago. They're still in jail today. And most of them, by the way, are black.
But a lot of the people, though, that did end up, and this is the thing where people lose track, a lot of the people that did end up taking a charge for possession, there was other stuff going on, and they pled it down to the possession. So they were, what I mean? I'm just saying that's not everyone, but a lot of them. It was a delivery, a manufacturer delivery charge, or it was, transporting large quantities across state lines or something like that, which even still, like you're talking about some people who had tractor trailers full of the stuff. So that's the people that are probably selected, but them people too should get out,
Yeah, that's a fair amount. It might be hard to push that as, recreational use.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you're Nick Rekieta. No, kidding.
No, but I actually knew I could talk. He's dead now. I knew a guy, this guy Bo in Illinois, who got caught with a tractor trailer full of marijuana coming across state lines, and he only did 4.5 years.
Wow.
So when people say, I got 20 years, I'm like, I think there must have been something else.
Yeah.
Was his brother Luke? Oh yeah, those the Duke brothers, right? Luke Duke, right? The Duke brothers, was that Luke and Bob Duke? Hells. So, or the family, what's left of it, of Samantha Drummond, 27, who, along with her mother, grandmother, and grandmother's partner, was stabbed to death by Jax, her boyfriend, in Bermondsey, southeast London. Ooh. Beyond violence and tragedy, their one common factor binding these and countless other seeming disparate acts is cannabis. Not that any of this is a surprise to police, lawyers, and judges. Courts across the land are part of portrayed cannabis and violent deeds spelled out all too clearly and frequently.
That is, I don't know. I don't know. I love when they say partner too. Jim and his partner. Partner.
You have the link, Dave. You have the link, Dave.
Hey, Jim, I want to ask you about that. Are all the StreamYard links always the same, or did you just?
Mine is. I have mine set up for. Hey, Dave. I have mine set up for to reuse this. It's a studio. It's a recurring
Oh, yeah.
studio, so it's the same studio.
But Dave's links are always different, right?
Dave doesn't have it set up that way. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I don't know what you're talking about. By the way, hi. So you're telling me every link you send was always the same?
Always the same link. That's why I stopped sending it, because I'm like, this is the same link. I keep sending the same link.
Well, most of us though, Jim, didn't know that because we're always looking for the for a new link. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
Oh,
funny.
look, and here's Julio Scissors in the chat saying, "Yo, Adrian."
Hey, Julio.
So, have you been able to, Dave, use the AI generated shorts yet for StreamYard?
Yeah, it's great.
It
awesome.
is.
Yeah.
It is. It's just that you have to keep the streams
Gotta be
under
less
2
than
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a trick, Jim, if it's over 2 hours, just watch the video through StreamYards on the studio, record it, and then you can make your videos.
Oh, that seems like a real pain in the butt.
Because you just walk away. Like especially if you don't like I do my bourbon hunts and stuff. So they're not on anything, Mark. So what I'll do is I'll download them and then I'll watch them on Windows Media Player, let YouTube Studios record it, and then I make shorts, let you or StreamYards make the shorts. Pretty cool. CapCut will make shorts for you too, though, Jim. And it doesn't matter how long the video is. The problem is it doesn't do very many.
Yeah, and I didn't like the way it did it. CapCut. I didn't. The StreamYard ones actually seemed like they made sense. The titles made sense, and it was concise. They were perfect. I was like, oh, this is great.
Like 12 of them on a 2 hour. You're like, whoa, that's a lot of content, man. Thanks.
Yeah, they'll throw them, and all you got to do is just hit publish. They go right to YouTube. Publish.
Yeah, that is amazing how good
Or
those
you can
things come out.
download them too if they don't let you publish, so you can do it when you want to on a schedule, because you don't want to publish too many at one time, right, Jim? So hey, I'll just download them and then I'll publish them. Because when you hit publish, it doesn't let you schedule it, Mark. So it's going to do it immediately. If you download it and then upload it, then you can like schedule maybe like an hour time difference or whatever. But yeah, StreamYards has been great with the clip stuff. I thought that might have been one of the perks for paying as much as I do for StreamYards, Jim, but apparently everybody gets it. God damn it.
Yeah, but Dave, you get the privilege of talking about it. So there you go. $800 and something a year. Oh, no problem.
Like,
Well, I have a feeling that they're on their way. Like they're going to have to change, because it's basically the only way they can get away with charging that money is the people like me who don't want to learn how to use OBS. But if they continue to raise the price, I will learn how to use OBS, and then there's no reason to use StreamYard.
Well, I'm using OBS right now. You're seeing me through OBS right now, Jim.
Yeah. But you don't need StreamYard if you use OBS. You can use OBS.
Yeah.
And do everything that StreamYard does with OBS.
I don't know about the people in your studio though. That's one thing about StreamYards. I can have like 10 people on at the same time.
Correct.
I don't know if I can invite
there's a way to do it with OBS. You have to use another software called like Viz. Someone's explaining to me there's another software basically where it's a link where you send a link and then it basically creates a peer-to-peer from your computer to another computer, like a peer-to-peer video link.
That just seems like lag time to me though, Mark. Like, are we all speaking at the same time? You know what I'm saying, Jim? I mean,
I think StreamYard raised their price because they know their day is coming. That somebody's going to package up OBS to make it easier. That's the market you need to be in. You've got to be the guy that says, "Here's a package. It'll
especially when OBS is free to use too." Like,
and so I think they're just getting their money now, because maybe around the time Dave and I renew next year, there'll be like real serious competition. We'll say, "God, I'm not even going to pay the $400 and whatever that I remember to downgrade mine to." Though Dave didn't. Well, I don't know why he didn't.
Rumble Studios gives you free. You can use Rumble Studios, which basically is almost identical to StreamYard, right? Pretty close.
We've had trouble getting the sound. Yeah. The sound thing is a problem. So
all right, Steve. I'm sorry. We'll get back on the subject of that's interesting to the average person in the chat.
Let's talk
Okay,
far
so we're so yeah. So time and again, those working in the criminal justice system heard the same warning that heavy use can lead to severe psychosis, especially as nearly all cannabis on Britain streets is now said to be super strength skunk. The super strength skunk, yeah, the sticky icky cheese they call it.
Like a band, Jim.
That's cool.
Skunk, nice.
The drug's increase in potency has significantly increased the risk of psychosis and other harms. Outside of the house of well-kept estates where Jacques 29 began his knife attack, a fresh spray of flowers in memory of the victims hangs in a lamppost. Nobody round here will forget what happened, said a family friend yesterday. Legalizing weed might prove more popular with people in London, and we all why the mayor thinks it's good to make him look cool. But it was skunk that killed Sam and her family. Was that a good English accent, or did that suck?
Well, I don't know about the English accent, but it sounded good, even if it wasn't an English accent.
I was in my head. It sounded like I was an English lord, Lord Jim. Jacques, it transpired at its trial, had smoked cannabis since age of 12 and had doubled his consumption of the stronger skunk variety in the weeks before the killing. Oh, well, what do you know, Chris? Sounded like cancer. Well, hopefully you caught it in the ears. Sounded Irish to me. Well, you know what? You know what it was? Because I exactly now I know what it was. I was talking like the guy, the Harrigan guy from that Mob Land movie with Tom Hardy and Pierce Brosnan. I was trying to sound like Pierce Brosnan. Then I realized he is Irish.
Oh.
Right? So that's probably why it sounded Irish. Police found the bodies of Miss Drummond, her mother, Tamisha Afala Akura, 45, grandmother to Dullet Hill, 64, and Hill Spotter, Denton Burke, 58, after they were alerted to disturbance by neighbor.
Now Jim is sounding Indian.
Yes. Officers discovered Miss Burke's body at the foot of the stairs, and there were 30 women trapped together in the kitchen. Mr. Justice Bryan, the judge ejects. Wait a minute. Did they call the judges Mr. Justice?
Or is his name actually Justice Bryan and he put Mr. in front of it?
That is weird, right? Mr. Justice. Mr. Justice. I come for justice, Mr. Justice. The judge at Jack's trial said it's a salutary lesson to all those who peddle the myth that cannabis is not a dangerous drug. And it's a deleterious effect on the mental health and the potential cause of psychosis is well established.
You know, Jim, this is where my conspiracy theory brain, which normally doesn't go to conspiracy theory, does go to it. Where they want us to think, you know, ooh, this isn't dangerous. We'll show them. And they pump, you know, hallucinogens and all this into the crops and say, there you go, people. Now,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like basically we are living reefer madness.
Yeah. Yep. Jack Webb was right. In 1959, Jack Webb was now right that this stuff will actually, you know, Minecraft your babies.
You're smoking the metal devil's lettuce. So, Jack's received 4 life sentences and must serve a minimum of 46 years. So in England, 4 life sentences is a minimum of 46 years.
For pot?
No, for murdering a bunch of people while he was on pot.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Sir Robin Murray, a professor of psychiatric research at King's London College, warned people need to know that cannabis, particularly modern cannabis, is strictly risky drug to take every day. We are in the middle of an epidemic of psychosis caused by heavy use of high-potency cannabis. As a consequence, our rates of schizophrenia are now 3 times higher than they were 50 years ago.
Our rates of what?
Schizophrenia.
That tells me people are fucking around with the shit. You know, I mean, come on. You don't need your drug to be so good that people whack out and do crazy shit. I mean, you want return customers. If you're a businessman, you want return customers. This is not the way to get it.
That's why we keep going back to the liquor store, right, Mark?
Yeah, exactly.
God dang.
Yeah. In normal cannabis resin, the average concentration of the main psychoactive component, tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, has risen dramatically in recent years. By contrast, portion of the antipsychotic cannabinoid, CBD, which helps to mitigate the drug's psychoactive effects, has decreased dramatically. Well, I thought they were selling CBD oils and stuff. I thought they want. So what they're saying is they've reduced the CBD, the good stuff that makes it's an antipsychotic cannabinoid, and they increased the psychoactive psychotic cannabinoid. So it sounds like they did it on purpose.
Yeah, either that or very bad marketing. You know,
every tourist town you go to has 20 CBD oil shops. Like they're trying to sell you CBD everywhere you go. And
so is that what it is? They're taking the CBD out to sell it separately, and then they're selling the stuff with the CBD removed.
Well, that'd be an interesting concept if that's actually how it's happening.
I don't know. I'm saying I don't know. I'm just asking. Make double the money. Yeah. Oh, look at this poor girl. She would drown her. Oh no, never mind. She drowned her sons, aged 2 and 5, in the bath, and then tucked them into bed for her husband to find. Well, she does kind of look like she would drown somebody. Look at that face. Stupid white woman.
Because she was doing cannabis. Is that what they're claiming?
That's what they're saying. Yes.
Jesus fucking Christ.
The insane level of you know, Dave, I find it hard to believe too, but if this stuff is really gotten that crazy.
This cannabis addict who killed his girlfriend and 3 generations of her family is found guilty. That's the guy who got 46 years for killing 3 generations of a family.
Oh, it's in Britain though, right?
Yeah. It's in Britain, yeah.
Yeah. 14 years is like a life sentence. It's so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
So cannabis is the rage drug now in England. That's what they're saying here.
Well, they're trying to legalize it. They want to legalize it just like they did in the U.S. They're trying to legalize it. And so what they're saying is they've noticed with the increased strength of the sticky, icky, smelly, stinky cheese that it's caused problems.
Well, I would like to know what else they were using at the same time, though, Jim. Like,
sure, maybe they were snorting bath salts or something, or
maybe they were doing a little cocaine. Maybe they're doing a little crack. What the fuck? Who knows? Like that black guy looks pretty sober to me, Jim.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't buy a comic book from him.
But you would buy the extra cover.
The extra cover.
The commission set up by Sir Sadiq and chaired by
for you, Jim.
I didn't get it yet. I didn't get it. I'm missing a bunch of stuff. Actually, I'm kind of upset. I didn't want to get into it really because I'm a little upset. Like I said, I'm missing like 5 complete sets of Graveyard Shift 5. I got 3 books in the mail.
That's Malin's, right?
Yeah, and all the rest of it, like I said, I bought all the big packages, all the secret links and stuff. Every one of them I bought, and I got 1 package of 3 books. I'm missing a lot. So I'm going to give them a little more time. I'm still waiting on Heartbreak of Horrors or whatever it was, books that I was supposed to get, and I was told no, I had to wait until the Dark Harvest came because they were bought together, going to ship with those. And there was also Diary of Heather Swain's that I bought that he's selling right now that I didn't get because I was told I had to wait for Dark Harvest to come in because I had bought them with Dark Harvest and the shipping cost was figured in for Dark Harvest.
Heather Swain on what, eBay?
And he's selling them on eBay, and I haven't got them yet. And so I'm going to give him about a week, and if I don't get the books, then I'm going to start really bitching.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Yeah. Because I looked it up. I think I purchased 12 copies of Dark Harvest. Different covers.
I'm not that deep. I think I'm 350 deep, Mark. As far as money goes.
I'm lucky. I came around later than you guys, so I did not get into those campaigns. You know, I've got the fearsome one. That's the first real campaign. I bought everything else on eBay, but I bought the fearsome thing, so I'm waiting for that because that looks good.
I mean, I have 4 red X boxes of the Red Extermination thing coming. So eventually, when it gets done, I don't know why.
No,
because
no,
we're fans of the show, dude. Like,
that's why.
Yeah, like I know why. I know why I buy it. Like it's not the problem. That's not the issue. Like I send Jim a super chat telling him he loves dirty bathrooms because it's true. I mean, he's reading stories.
Yeah.
About them. So,
wait,
Jim.
I just want to say, everyone, good night. It was a great night. I'm ending the stream at 1:59 and 25 seconds. Thanks for coming. I'll see y'all tomorrow night.